Hey, it's Les from the TV Dudes. One of the highlights of ATX Television Festival Season 8 was getting to sit down with the cast and creators of David Makes Man. The show premieres on the OWN network on August 14th. I was lucky enough to sit down with showrunner Dee Harris-Lawrence, as well as actress Phylicia Rashad, who plays Dr. Wood's Trap, Akili McDowell, who plays David, and Travis Coles, who plays Miss Elijah. I was able to see the pilot screener before the interview, and David Makes Man is a powerful and amazing piece of work, so I could not wait to speak with so many people involved. I hope you enjoy.
So I'm Les from the TV Dudes. We're a local podcast here in Austin that does weekly television for about 8 years now, and we do interviews pretty regularly. I was lucky enough to get the screeners this morning, and so I got to watch the pilot episode. What a fantastic show! That is maybe, it's got to be one of the best looking hours of television I've ever seen. In terms of production value, the way the show looks, how it uses the visual structure to jar you every time David daydreams, it really just masterful. And I could feel the moment when it set the hook for me of like, oh, I'm gonna watch this show now. I've got enough on my plate, but now you've made another show I gotta watch.
That's what we do, try to bring you in.
So I'm lucky enough to be here with Dee Harris-Lawrence, who made the show. Can you talk about the gestation of the idea and what made David Makes Man? Where did this come from?
Well, actually, I was partnered with the creator, who is Terrell Alvin McCraney, who is, he's a genius. He won the MacArthur Genius for a reason. He wrote or co-wrote Moonlight, that won the Academy Award. He created this show, and it's mostly based on his, life growing up when he was really young, because he was always interested in what is that point when you're a young man, and he figured it was around 13 years old when things happen in your life that kind of presents you with a decision to show and which way are you going to go, without guidance, with dealing with a trauma and how you do that. When we first met, we have two other producers I met with when they were looking for a showrunner for the show because Terrell hadn't done television before. After I read the script, I literally kind of sat there for a second. His writing is just incredible. It just pops off the page, and I sat there and I read it again. And when I sat in front of him, we were just kind of talking, and Terrell, there's a shyness to him, but until he gets to know you. But I said, and then I told him, I'm like, you know what? I am David. I said, I am the female version of this young man. I dealt with things imagination. I was a daydreamer. It wasn't until I started writing that I actually, I started daydreaming less and less. And then I realized, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do. This is how I can create and do things and figure out how to deal with it. So we actually kind of really bonded over that, among other things. So it was very important. And I told him, my job is to make sure your vision gets onto the screen. My job is to help, with the women who are also part of this, world as well, and to guide it and to have a safe haven for these actors to basically project onto how you're seeing it and the way they brought what they had to it. So it was really something special, and we really realized as we were going into it and through it how important it was for us to do it the way we wanted to do it, and to pick certain people, because out of the 10 episodes we only had 4 directors. We had Michael Williams, who directed the pilot, which he did give us our visual language, and then we had 3 other directors, Kyle Adrian Scott, Dana Reed, and then Sheldon, because it was very important for us to keep, again, that vision going forward.
Phylicia, you played Dr. Woodtrap on the show. In reading the script, did you have a sense of what the show would end up looking like? Did you understand how special a story this was? Did the emotion come across for you in the script when you first saw it?
Absolutely. Alvin already wrote it. Yes. It can't be otherwise in his work. He does not mess around.
He doesn't.
There's subtle moments with your character, particularly dealing with the principal of the school. I'm thinking of the challenge of like you can't sign that slip. You're not the mother of the. There's these little moments where, and it happens throughout the show, where a lot of backstory is revealed in, not backstory so much, but character development is revealed in a one statement.
Yes.
Did you have any particularly favorite moments when you were reading through the pilot where you got to a point in the script and went, oh, that's beautiful?
All of it.
All of it?
Truthfully. Honestly, truthfully. From the very beginning, I couldn't believe what I was reading. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that this, well, I could believe it because Terrell wrote it. But yeah, somebody's got the good sense and the courage to do this.
The audacity.
The audacity to do this. Yes, I'm in. Yes.
Akili, it's got to be such a challenging role to play David and to show the care that he's trying to give to his family and the challenges and just make it feels like a real life. It just you feel the challenges that he's dealing with. As a young actor, were there any particular challenges when you read the script that you thought, oh gosh, I hope I have it to do that scene, or better yet, did you flip through any scenes and go, I'm going to have the opportunity to do that?
The scene that I auditioned for, I actually couldn't wait to do that scene because like I really pour my heart into that scene, and just it really wasn't hard because the cast around me, everybody's like so wise and so like there for me. We're like a family, so it's really easy to like be able to put myself into David and really commit to doing what was needed.
The moment I think that set the hook for me on the show is the hug that isn't. There's a subtle moment with David and his mom, and the camera just swings casually around the back of her, and both your performance, that hug felt more genuine than. There's times in shows where something so honest happens you wonder if it was a break, where it's more honest than what you and then for it to be taken back so quick. I think anybody who's been through their teen years and had their relationship with their parents change has recognized that. In filming the series, were there days on set where you found it particularly beautiful or honest or challenging to be an actor? Were there days that stood out on this show compared to previous work?
We shot it in block shooting, so every day was like something that's powerful. like it would be something. We'll do a simple scene where like we're laughing and giggling, then next scene we're pouring down crying in like an hour. So it was dope. Yeah.
As far as your role on the show, getting to kind of be the person that knows everything that's happening in this project and maybe doesn't say anything. Having only gotten to watch the pilot so far, I'm assuming that you get to develop and be more on the show because I'm hoping we get to see more of your character. Can you talk about when you first read the pilot script, what you thought your role was versus what it became as the show went on?
I had the same moment that Dee did reading the pilot. I was sitting down and I was in this cafe and I just had to actually just take a moment to take in what I had read because it was something, for me, I was able to relate to so many of the characters in that I've had this experience, and I was just like, I've never seen or read anything where it was so personal to me, but I could tell that it was so personal to the author, and it blew me away. So with this character, Miss Elijah, what I didn't know how it would impact me, I didn't know what would happen to her character as much as I didn't know how much Miss Elijah could actually affect and have change within me as a person and help me grow in this way that has changed my life and given me courage and strength. And I think that Terrell knew that. I think that they knew that about me, and they trusted that in me when I walked in the room, and that's why they chose me. But I didn't know that was there. But that's kind of what David's character does, and that's what Miss Elijah, I think, kind of does for David, and reflects a mirror to him. And you get to see more of that. And I can't wait. I wish I could say more, but I can't.
The fun of this weekend is not spoiling some of these shows for the people who listen to these interviews. The color palette, the visual style choices, and the camera work in it, the acting, it's all so thorough and of a piece. It's wonderful when you realize that everyone in a show knows what show they're making, and nobody feels out of position.
Yes.
Were there particular things that you do or did this time on set to make sure that it came together and that everybody knew what we were working on?
Totally rule with iron fist. Not really. I will give you major kudos for the fact that you actually picked up on the color palette. Which everything done on the show is very specific. And as you watch the show, you will see how, things more, But I love that you caught on to that early on, because that was a major thing for both Terrell and I in, picking the people that we did to bring on the show behind the scenes. From costumes to productions to, we did this show in Orlando. Orlando is not known for, filming, television shows, and I think game shows or reality shows. So there's a major thing, but everybody came to the series and came every day with such a purpose that was either innate in them or so personal to them, and it flowed over abundantly onto the set. My major thing was to make sure there was a safe environment because we had so many children, so everybody can do what they could and not feel like, okay, I'm going through all these emotions, I'm going through all of the, I need a net to catch me. There was always a net for anybody. I would listen in the earphones. The cameraman, he'll say, and I can see him take a breath. Sometimes he'll go, man, that was good. I'm like, we're done. I was like, he said, we're good. I said, when the cameraman said we're good. So I was like, good, because they would get so caught up into it. They're also, looking at it with a different lens. So that was great.
He also caught on to that moment, the shot that he was talking about, the Gloria shot, that was actually the specific in-camera effect, because you all did so many visual effects, but that moment in particular, Michael was wanting to do that as an in-camera effect. That was so
that was
awesome.
Seamless because of in the moment of what this young man wants to do so badly and cannot. And then it's like, but to be able to show in that split second.
I know
that it's so fast, I think, is what made it hit so hard.
I know,
because I really try to not tear up right now. Also the scene at the end, I don't want to give away some of the fun things in the first episode, but the emotional scene that David has at the end of just kind of screaming in the rain. I had a completely different childhood than the show, but I had a thing happen in 6th grade that basically left me standing outside with adults watching from inside houses while I just lost it. And the scene, the camera slowly pulling out, all of it, it really tagged me that I could connect with this show, that I needed to see whatever happened next. I needed to see what this kid did with it. How does David how have you connected with David, just as Akili, as an actor, and then having this role? Have there been moments that really you feel like has helped you grow?
Honestly, yes, because I also grew up in a single-parent household. And my mother, she works her butt off 2-3 jobs every day to provide for 3 children. So I know what he feels to feel like he has to be the man of the house.
I think particularly the lies he tells, sometimes they're not even really necessary. It's such a little kid thing to do while trying to step into that adult world. But there's a moment in the first episode where he gets rewarded as being honest for being dishonest. And I thought that was an amazing narrative trick because that is such an odd life lesson. Whenever you have that reinforced, like you got away with it.
Right.
Integrity.
Yeah.
Yes, it's the integrity conversation.
Yeah.
And it's we've all sat there. It's so bittersweet when you just do I take this trophy for something I did not do?
Exactly. You know.
That was actually one of the moments when I read the script where I was just like, oh, that is what I related to, because and in your life it's what do you decide? Who are you going to be?
Yes.
How are you going to be a man with that? Are you going to take integrity even though it's not real and continue to go with it? And you know what? Sometimes you have to because it's survival from trauma.
Yes.
And that's another reason why I was just like, this show is, he's a genius. It's brilliant, and it needs to be seen.
Right.
It was one of the moments I realized that the writing was on another level from most television. And similarly, channels sometimes have a tone. NBC has what NBC sitcoms look like. CBS looks a little different. I didn't know what the own network would look like.
Right.
I wasn't sure, what Amazon Studios or Hulu or different shows. The prestige level of all of it was so impressive. Did you know did you have a sense from the start that you were going to be able to put together a team that would rise to the level of this writing?
That was certainly my mission, at both of our missions. I would say, like, once I got to become a showrunner in this industry, how I wanted it to go. One, making sure the crew, everybody knows up front, what you're looking for, what you are, and that is the way Terrell, also operates. You never know what you're going to get. I mean, when I tell you we went through so many different casting sessions, but we did everything was very specific, from the gathering of the writers, from the gathering of the actors, and like really going through everything and going with your gut. We brought Akili out with a few other actors to do tests. The scene that he is talking about in the rain. That was like one of the last things you did. Terrell told him to stand up. As we both were like going, he is like holding him side back. And Akili hasn't done a lot of stuff. But it was like something that we kept going to with him. And it was, he got up and then he did the scene. And I don't even know if he remembers, but at one point Terrell had to grab him. Because I think he connected somewhere, and I remember at that moment I said, that's David. And it was like, okay, I'm done. I don't need to see anymore. And it was just like this overwhelming thing. It's like, okay, I see you now. It's like, and I see what it is. He has an instinct that you cannot teach at a young age.
That's what I felt.
Yeah. And it's like, and then it's like, okay, well, everything else will, come into play. Travis was the first Miss Elijah, which is interesting because I thought, oh my God, this is gonna be such a hard role to like. I don't think he even knows it, but he literally was like, we walked in, and it was me, Terrell, and Carmen, and then he walked out, and we all just kind of looked at each other. It was like, well, that was Miss Elijah, and we all three of us, and we saw, a bunch of other people, and we're like, okay, Travis. And we knew it was going to be good because he wasn't the obvious choice. There are obvious choices where Miss Elijah could have been, but he had such a honest performance in the way he came in, such a that it spoke. So we knew that was, Phylicia is Phylicia. Once he said that Phylicia, I'm like, well, of course she's going to be Dr. Is she busy? She's directing the play. Somebody needs to get her out of the play.
Get her out of that play.
Get her out. Yes, she directed some stuff. Well, no. But yeah, so it was with. At least we tried. We wanted to make sure that everything else was a matter of elements coming together and the gods, smiling down upon us, and Terrell Alvin McCraney being at the helm of this, the story, and it was a great experience.
Well, I can't wait to watch more of it, and I'm really hoping that it connects with the audience. I can't imagine
So far
how it would.
we try to make it's a universal story. People, yes, we have. As we say, we did a show that was unapologetically black, but the themes, everything in it is universal, and that's how I think storytelling should be.
There's not been many hours of television that I've connected with the characters that quickly and that hard on. And so, I don't know how cold inside you'd have to be to not feel something watching that episode, honestly. I think
There
it's
was
exciting.
that story of the man who came out. He was
my
he was
goodness,
he's an older
Yes,
white
yes.
truck driver who came up and said to Alana, who plays Gloria, he was just like, that moment that you had with your son, I feel that every day, and I just connected with you in that way. So you saying that you connected with him from that scene,
that's fantastic.
I think that's the whole point, because it is unapologetically black, but like you said, universal.
Yes.
Which, hello,
It's like, exactly.
we are.
Hello.
It is universal.
Right. Exactly. It is universal.
Which I think is that's why I love the show too. I'm excited.
I can't wait to see more and for everybody to get to see some more.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The TV Dudes is an independently run podcast and a member of the Permanent Record Podcast Network. We are exclusively listener supported. If you'd like to help us out, please go to patreon.com/TVDudes. You can like us on Facebook and Twitter @TVDudes and help us out on iTunes by giving us a 5-star rating and writing a review. To find out more about us, go to thetvdudes.com and permanentrcrd.com. I'm Grant Davis. Thanks for listening.